Right, so we'll get the meeting back underway. So now moving to the Part A's from the community boards. The first of which is item 9, the Ōpāwaho Lower Heathcote guidance plan. So, oh, sorry, we didn't, because we got interrupted before we'd finished item 8. So I'm happy to move receipt of the monthly reports from the community boards. Jimmy is happy to second. All those in favour say aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you. So now moving to item 9, the Ōpāwaho Lower Heathcote guidance plan. So, Alex, you've got some comments that you wanted to make on this as we move into this item.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me back. Look, I think Malcolm Long, thank you again for your deputation, Malcolm. I think he's done an excellent job of telling the story of the Ōpāwaho River Network group and the work that they have done in leading to us presenting this guidance plan today. I just want to say one of the quotes that we have in the guidance plan: the lower Ōpāwaho Heathcote River embodies a living partnership between people and the awa, where activities restore, enhance te mana o te wai. I think you've all had a lot of information about this guidance plan, and I'd just like to point out again that this will be something, if endorsed today by the council, I'm sure it will be, we'll be able to actually help other groups around our rivers in Ōtautahi Christchurch, actually help the health of our rivers and allow them to be something that is fully used by our communities in the future. So just really want to say a big thank you again to staff and the community and all of the groups that have had input into this. And again, thank you to our chair, Yanni Johansson, and also we had Tim Lindley from our community board on that group as well. So yeah, I think that's all I need to say. The report's obviously been read, and thank you all for your time today.
All right, thank you for those introductory remarks. Now, Yanni, you chaired the working party. Did you have any comments that you wanted to make as we move into the item?
Yeah, thank you. I've just put forward 2 additional resolutions. Number 3, which is really just an acknowledgement resolution, just to acknowledge with appreciation from council the working party members and the organisations that have supported the development of the plan.
Right, so just as we do this, have we got those in a position able to be put on the screen in front of us so that we can see them?
Just working on that.
Okay.
But generally at a high level, I'll just speak to it at a very high level to save time. So basically, the first one is just to acknowledge the people that have contributed, the council staff, the community board, and of course the community working party members and the organisations that have been involved. But just to start off with, and just to acknowledge the chair of the board, quoting the initial, the phrase that's in the document, there's really, in my mind, there's really 4 different key aspects of this that are really important. And I've just asked staff if they could put up a copy of some images, and as they're doing it, I just wanted to reflect on those 4 things. One is the inspiration that comes from people that have long before us committed to the importance of this urban waterway. And the one council staff member that I do want to acknowledge is Dennis Preston. And up on the screen, you can see some images that Dennis provided to our community board in 2018 around what it used to look like in 1993, and then what it looks like after some ecological restoration had happened. And for those of us who are new into this area, we may have always taken for granted the ecological benefits that came from what was there historically, but actually it's relatively recent that people like Dennis Preston, nearly 30 years ago, decided to, with council support, to invest in this area and to the river, and has made an amazing difference. But sadly, over time, that improvement was lost. It wasn't maintained. It became overgrown, and there were also areas around the corridor that were land use planning that was allowed to continue, and a whole bunch of frustrations that existed. But Dennis Preston, in terms of inspiration, was very inspirational from my point of view, along with Helene Maltiner from the Spray and Cashmere Board, who's one of the first elected members that I can recall in my time in politics, raising the significance of the Ōpāwaho Heathcote River as a whole, needing to have greater value. And then more recently, just to acknowledge the Castles family and the tannery, because they have really spearheaded a movement around that industrial part of Woolston, that the area deserves better, that actually you can have beauty in an industrial area if you invest in it, and if you look at the importance of the river and the community that it connects. So I just wanted to acknowledge, obviously, the passing of Alistair Castles, but also the work that the Castles family have done at the tannery to recognise the importance of the river. It's really inspirational. And the three other things that I'll mention. One is the synergy. So what's really important is that council's investing a lot of money in terms of major cycleways, in terms of land drainage, in terms of dredging, in terms of pedestrian improvements, safety improvements, road repairs, infrastructure repairs, but it lacked a coordinated plan. And so really the idea behind this guidance plan was to try and get ahead of that work and get synergy. Now, unfortunately, it's taken a wee while and we've probably missed a few opportunities, but that doesn't prevent us looking forward for the opportunities that exist in the future to get a better use of our resource, to get better outcomes, recognising the importance of the river. So that's really important. And just the two other points that I wanted to raise was, the three. So the cultural framework, I just really wanted to stress that what's really important to the board and the working party has been the adoption of a cultural framework around, and that's just on page 16 of the document. So I won't read it all out, but just the kind of key principles of whanaungatanga, mātauranga, kaitakiakitanga, manakiatanga, whakapapa, hora, and wairutanga. And I mean, effectively, that's looking at a holistic approach to the river corridor around well-being and around a really important cultural framework. So I just wanted to acknowledge the contribution that Mata Popuri and in particular Debbie Tikau have given to us as a working party and a community board and council. And just finally, I guess, just to acknowledge again, like the working party, we've got Alistair still here, we've got Annabelle, and we've got Malcolm. So just to thank the people that have contributed, but also to recognise that there's a whole bunch of local groups along the river and local residents who have been on the ground monitoring, tidying, enhancing and promoting that this area should have greater value. And I just wanted to sort of conclude with just to refer to two out of the many submissions that we received. But one from Marie Byrne, who talks about involving our Tamariki. Not only are they the future guardians, but they're also the educators of the older generations. And that talks to the intergenerational impact that we can have if we have a vision and if we have hope that we can improve our environment along the river. And the second point that she made, which I just wanted to very much concur with, it's important that this awa is celebrated as much as the Otakaro. Too often for years it's been regarded as the poorer family member, not as much as a taonga to our city, as one that winds its way through the central city. And I think this plan really provides hope to a local community in an intergenerational approach to restoring and enhancing the values of the river. And there's a really lovely submission on page 174, which I won't read it out in detail, but from Claire Patterson, who talks about, and again, this comes back to that intergenerational impact. Thank you for developing this river guidance. I support the whole approach. The river is important to my family and I. We have lived along the Ōpāwaho for 6 generations since settling in New Zealand in the 1800s. I'm really pleased to see in the plan the projects to improve the visibility of te ao Māori in the area, including the Ōpāwaho Pass site. I strongly support working with Ngāi Tauhiri on that, and it's very sad when I tell my children about how their great-great-grandfather came to New Zealand and he lived in this area, and the Māori who were already here offering a manaakitanga and hospitality, and then I have to explain that there's nothing to show for that. I cannot change the past, but it's important to me that we restore and reflect the role of Māori in this area. And then she goes on to talk about her granddaughter, 11-year-old granddaughter, being excited about the work that we're proposing. So I just thought, to really reflect on the change that we can make. The beautiful thing about local government is the change we can make in our local communities to give hope for a better future. And I think this river plan really highlights, the best of what local government can do. So I really hope that council endorses it, and I hope that we can continue to work through a number of the actions that are mentioned in it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we've got the Part A resolution from the Community Board in front of us, but Yanni, you've got resolutions 3 and 4 that you're proposing to add, and 4 is simply requesting staff to have a look, and that's in the context of the last line in 2, the implementation of which will be undertaken as and when resources are allocated over time. So they're in synergy with each other. So I'm assuming that you're wanting to be the mover of this with those additional resolutions in there. And Sarah, you're happy to second. Excellent. So this has been moved and seconded. Just checking that there weren't any questions. I think we've had a reasonably clear couple of presentations on it. The question obviously is, who are we asking questions of? Jimmy, you've got a question.
That's a question. Thank you for this the strategic guidance plan. Very good. But my question is based on the paragraph 2, the part A, because we are aware next term, because the Linwood War and the Heathcote War were separate to the different war. So in the future, how to advocate the particular project and the funding, which war will take the lead for responsible, and also for the implementation of this the plan, guidance plan, is my question.
All right. So, as I indicated, the difficulty is, who are we asking these questions of? Presumably the answer is the community board or boards that this falls within the area of. Yep. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So this has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So now moving to item 10.